Hello and welcome along to coverage from the 2021 Rising Stars Series final. The very best in MotoGP eSport talent being discovered right here with the likes of Piero Ricciuti, who of course came through this very same final last year, now fighting to be crowned MotoGP eSport World Champion. This is the Europe and Africa final, Jack, and we are heading to, drumroll please,
we are going to Le Mans. Missed out the drum roll there, but anyway, it doesn't matter. This is the place then where eSports superstars are made, and we've got the very next race coming up for you, as we do say, at the lovely French circuit of Le Mans. So let's get down to it then. Time for us to go racing at the unusually dry Le Mans.
Hello and welcome along to sunny Le Mans ahead of the Rising Stars Series final in Europe and Africa. The very best in eSport talent battling it out for a place in the 2022 MotoGP eSport Pro Draft. Jack Appleyard and Jack Ghost with you. And starting from pole position will be Ali Guido, the Italian. Joining him on the front row of the grid will be Simone Piavelli. And rounding out that front row will be another Italian. We've heard the name before, Vindex 813.
So fourth then it is Simone 12 Aloe, and then in fifth place on the Pramac Racing Ducati is Davide Galigna. He's a very familiar name to all of you from the Global Series. And number 3 with a Max Biaggi number, love that, Renew Maestro 21.
It's Sacred Meerkat fronting row 3 of the grid, our only British competitor ahead of Gaetano Conrado on the factory Aprilia. And 9th on the grid is Sabadalongo.
And 10th, no, that is not Casey Stoner, that is Ghosty on the Repsol Honda. Look at that, that looks superb, doesn't it? And completing the runners, it is Joe 4620. So here we go then, for Le Mans, a sunny Le Mans. That doesn't happen very often, but we're ready to go racing for the Europe and Africa's regional final.
Here we go, a place in the Pro Draft up for grabs. Starting from pole position, it's the factory Suzuki man, Ali Guido. And it's a good start from Guido as well, but it's a better one from Vindex on the factory Yamaha machine. He's been training hard with his factory Yamaha counterpart, Trastevere. during these summer months, and it's clearly worked brilliantly for him as he takes the whole shot and the lead here in Le Mans. A great start, a lot of track limits warnings there, in particular from Davide Galigna. Gaetano Corrado, he's come through from the third row of the grid, but it must have been a jump start. 2 long lap penalties for the Aprilia man.
Yeah, disaster then for him. And also Ghosty, number 27, the Casey Stoner lookalike. He's crashed out on lap 1. So Davide Galigna, already a track limits warning. So is Ale Guida, so is Vindex, so is Spadalong in 7th, and you Maestro as well. So lots and lots of track limit warnings already. Look at that. There's about 4 or 5 abreast coming down now into this very, very tight little double right-handed bus stop like little hairpins. They launch now onto the back straight. Vindex, well, if he wanted to break away early, that's not going to happen. Ale Guido on the Suzuki is right in his slipstream. Yeah,
great start from the factory Yamaha man this, with Davide Galigna, he's in the mix as well. This front 3 have got lots and lots of experience. As Ale Guido, he went over track limits as he went left, and then again as they went right as well. So 2 warnings in the space of a second.
Yeah, and that means 3 for the first lap.
Not ideal stuff for the Suzuki man, especially on this opening lap of 10. It means he's on a fine line now for the rest of the race to make sure he doesn't have a long lap penalty coming his way. But as we come over the line, first lap completed, a hectic one as well, is the factory Yamaha of Vindex leading the way, closely followed by Ale Guido and Davide Galigna.
Yeah, and they're going to throw it now into turn 1, turn 2, and then down into turn 3. This very, very tight chicane. What a great start to the lap it is in Le Mans. It's certainly a place where if you're brave, you can make a move, but you've got to be very, very close indeed. And Vindex just has that slight buffer, that slight kind of, I'm kind of safe here. He's got a little bit of territory over Ale Guido in second, and it just means that the Suzuki man can't quite get close enough just yet. That is the gap as we launch on board. Well, looking back at Vindex anyway. And Le Mans is one place where you can kind of run your own line and make up time if that line you are choosing can be faster. There's certainly loads of places where double apex, sometimes even a triple apex, you can really, really just kind of sweep around and keep the momentum up and hopefully claw back time on your competitor. Simone Aloe then, he's looking at Simone Piovanelli, as I tried to pronounce that one properly. It looks as though the Ducati man is just looking quite comfortable there. We've got a bit of a string this. It's a right little gaggle all the way down to kind of 7th or 8th place. They're all just strung out in one big long line, so certainly anything can happen now.
Still Vindex leading the way though. It's been put under mounting pressure from the Suzuki man as we're into the final sector here. We're about to complete lap 2 of 10. A look up the inside from Simone Piovanelli, but no way through on his Ducati counterpart Davide Galigna. So lap 2 completed, still Vindex leading the way. As we've said, this guy's teammates with Trastevere, the reserve rider in the 2021 eSport Championship, has been training hard with him. You can see some of their YouTube videos on the Monster Energy Yamaha YouTube channel as well. So he's clearly a very talented eSport gamer. Is Vindex, Italian, of course. There's a great Italian gaggle of riders battling it out for the eSport Championship, the likes of Trastevere, of course, Andrew ZH, who is rather familiar to Ducati fans, and let's not forget Piero Ricciuti as well, who of course came through the Rising Stars Series final last year, and look what he's been able to achieve in 2021. So these guys really are the stars of the future. You won't be surprised to see the likes of Vindex and Ale Guido battling it out in the Global Series next year. Davide Galigna, of course, does have Global Series experience. Unfortunately, just didn't make the cut this year, but he's hoping victory here will see him catapulted into the limelight once again in 2022. And already, Ale Guido and Davide Galigna, incidentally, have got themselves 4 track limits warnings. One more trip onto the green stuff and it will be a long lap penalty for both the Suzuki and the Pramac Racing man. They're in real trouble here with still 7 laps remaining.
Yeah, but what that means for Ale Guido is he needs to make the move now. If he's got any chance of this, if he does receive a long lap penalty, he needs to get past Vindex and he needs to gap him, and gap him big time, because a long lap penalty will cost you around 2.5 to 3 seconds, particularly here in Le Mans, because it's at that turn 8 when they have to go very long into the corner to go and take that long lap penalty. So he's got to put the move on him, and it looks as though Vindex is just making that very, very difficult. As you say, Jack, rides with Trastevere a lot, and it looks as though he's picked up 1 or 2 things from the Italian, because he's not putting a foot wrong at the moment.
No, incredibly precise is Vindex so far. Fastest lap of the race going his way so far as well. And look at that, only 1 track limits warnings. That was on the opening lap when I don't think it was through any fault of his own with the amount of riders left, right and in front of him. I think he probably got nudged out onto the green stuff. Meanwhile, Ali Guido, those mistakes have been all through his own volition. He needs to be careful here. You would have to say that a long lap penalty looks extremely likely when he's pushing as hard as he is just to try and stay with Vindex.
Yeah, it certainly does. As we do say, like when these guys are pushing very, very hard, they have to kind of almost go over the limit. It's so close in these eSport races. What you're seeing here is a long lap penalty for Davide Galigna. Looks as though he's just taking a bit too much curb on the inside, coming through the chicane there. The left-right, the fast left-right chicane, I have to say, and it's just disaster for him. So Davide Galigna, if it stays like this, with this constant pace, it's going to be near impossible for him to catch up now. We cut on board with him. I wonder if he'll take it straight away or if he'll leave it to the late laps of the race. As we come across now to complete lap 4, we're almost at half race distance, and it seems that Vindex, well, he's resisting the pressure for now. Let's see what he can do.
So far, so good from the factory Yamaha man as Ali Guido looks up the inside. No way through, though. And I tell you what, if he does win this race, it's a little bit of a headache for the factory Yamaha squad because they're not going to get rid of Trastevere, of course. He's battling it out to try and become a 3-time MotoGP eSport champion. He's been with them for a number of years now, and of course they're very happy together, and it's a successful partnership that they have. But Vindex is clearly knocking on that door really hard to get himself a seat in the Global Series. We may well see that Yamaha team up with, of course it will be RNF Racing next year instead of Petronas Yamaha SRT, and decides to put Vindex on the junior Yamaha machine and try and have a two-pronged attack at the 2022 Global Series title. Of course, that's a long way away though, not even half race distance completed here, and Ali Guido is swarming over the rear wheel of the number 12.
Yeah, so here we go then. Coming down to complete this 5th lap of 10. Will be half race distance this time around. It looks as though Ali Guido may have just made a slight mistake. The gap's up to 3/4 of a second. That is by far the biggest gap that we've seen for a long time. So we'll see if it just unleashes Vindex a little bit. Pressure off. Can stop worrying about trying to defend possibly and just open up those lines again. We look on board. Take a look at the bottom right corner of your screen. You see that wear on the rear tyre. It's already quite a lot. 2/3 wear on the edges. So certainly Vindex may just be looking a little bit loosey-goosey as we come down into the final few laps of this race.
Into the Dunlop chicane then, and there's Simone Piavelli swarming over the rear wheel of Davide Galigna. Podium's up for grabs here, well and truly up for grabs, because of course Davide Galigna has to take a long lap penalty. He's not taking it yet. Time is running out for the Italian. He needs to start looking and eyeing up that long lap penalty as soon as possible. Of course, that located, as you said, down at Garage Vert, I believe, at turn 8. Not here. This is, of course, his museum. And then the hard onto the brakes here into Garage Vert, and you'll be able to see with this helicopter camera, there it is. There's the long lap penalty loop, but he's yet again not taking it as Davide Galigna. Simone Piavelli, he goes wide, and now he's been handed a long lap penalty of his own as we head upwards towards Chamonix. And it's a move up the inside coming from Simone. He manages to get it done. That's a brave move. Simone Piavelli trying to squeeze back through, but it's a good move there from Aloe, and he gets the job done.
Have that, he says, as he comes around the outside at Shimano. But great move then from Simone. Move up into fourth. Oh, wow, contact. Okay. He got caught out by the connection lag there, but certainly Simone, meaning business, he's up now into 4th. He's got 0.7 up to Davide Galigna. So let's just see what he can... Sorry, 1.2 up to Davide Galigna. Let's just see what he can do if he can close that down. Of course, Davide Galigna's still got that long lap penalty hanging over him like a dark cloud. So does Simone Piavelli. So it could mean that, well, Simone could find himself in some great real estate there as he takes a massive corner cut at turn 3 on the exit of the chicane there. But back to the front, Vindex, that gap's up to over a second. That is the first time it's been over a second in this whole race. So 7 laps into this, 3.5 to go. It looks as though Vindex has just played the trump card and pulled out a little bit of a stunner. Yep,
he has. He's absolutely lit the blue touch paper. The sparkler has gone off, and he's starting to romp clear as the factory Yamaha man as we're hard on the brakes
penalty.
into Garage Vert. Davide Galigna. Oh, don't touch the green. Don't touch the green. Oh, he does it well. Just though.
Is he going to get the drive though?
And he's done well only to lose 1 position at the moment, but here comes Vanelli looking up the inside. Ducati versus Ducati. No way through though. Davide Galigna just about holds off. And that's important as he goes over the green again. And suddenly, having just taken a long lap penalty, having gone over the green again, he's back up to 4 warnings already. All he needs is another one, and he's going to be back through the long lap penalty route. Pio Vanelli, meanwhile, he needs to take a trip through the long lap penalty loop, so at least Galigna will have a little bit of breathing room, but for how long, we don't know. Oh, I'll tell you what, that was close to the green there. I thought that was going to be it. Another long lap penalty going away of the Pramac Racing man, but he just about avoids it. Ali Guido, meanwhile, we've been talking about the fact that he has 4 warnings to his name. He's done brilliantly well to stay out of the green this long. Now, only 2.5 laps remaining around Le Mans. But he is 1.1 seconds adrift of Vindex now. It looks as though it's all going in the favour of the factory Yamaha man.
Yeah, it does. Ali Guido then, as you say, been squeaky clean since those 4 warnings in the first couple of laps. Not made a single mistake running onto the green at all. And he's... Oh, what on earth?
What happened there?
It looked like he took the front and then just big connection issues anyway, but we're all good. But Davide Galigna, he does have another long lap penalty. Disaster then. I wonder if he did that at the first chicane. So he's going from bad to worse. Who's that diving into?
Pio Vanelli.
That's Pio Vanelli on the factory Ducati. Let's see where he comes out now. Obviously Davide Galigna is up the road, but he's going to lose a place to Mastro 21. So the tech-free KTM man has sneaked up into 5th place.
Yeah, good stuff from the KTM man. Tech-Trois machine, of course,
he's on the green again.
Pio Vanelli. I tell you what, he needs to stay off the green. Big look up the insides. Just about. Oh, I thought he was going to squeeze his way through, but it's good defence from Mastro 21. Holds off the factory Ducati man, who is swarming over the rear. It's a little bit naughty, this, actually, from Pio Vanelli. He's just trying to ride his way through him rather than actually making his way through. I won't be surprised if he doesn't get a warning for reckless riding there. He is eventually going to get in front of the Max Biaggi fan of Mastro. But I tell you what, he's giving as good as he gets. He's going to try and roll around the outside here, and down goes Pio Vanelli. Well, it was coming, wasn't it? It was coming. The pair of them were pretty much leaning on each other for half a lap, and in the end, it's Pio Vanelli that goes down. It could have been either of them, but in the end, it's the factory Ducati man that crashes out. And that was expected. Yeah,
it was expected. Bit of desperation creeping into the riding there, Pio Vanelli, and it just seems it's gone completely against him. He's just lost places to Spadalongo and also Ghosty on the Repsol Honda, and now he's got Sacred Meerkat behind him as well. As we look back forward then, Davide Galigna running out onto the green once again. He really needs to be careful. He's already got that second long lap penalty to take, and he can't afford to keep racking them up. We don't want to get a third one. God, could you imagine? Anyway,
he's running out of laps as well. He needs to take it. Well, obviously, next time around, we're on the last lap. He has to take it there. Otherwise, he'll have a time penalty added of near 6 or 7 seconds.
Yeah, would be disaster for him, but no disaster then for Vindex. Still just that one track limits infringement. So he's been absolutely picture perfect since the very first sector of this race. And you got to say, well, it's deserved, isn't it? We've seen how good he's been this year as reserve rider for MotoGP eSport for Yamaha, doing all those YouTube videos and riding with Trastevere. Trastevere said he was quick and to watch out for him, and, well, he's just proving and backing that up.
He is. Great performance, this, coming from the Italian. 1 lap to go into the Dunlop chicane for the final time. We're on board with Davide Galigna. He's all over the rear wheel of Simone here ahead of him on a Petronas Yamaha machine. Remember, he has to go through the long lap penalty route at Garage Vert this time around. Otherwise, it's going to be a heavy penalty handed to the Italian. But I think he may well just throw caution to the wind here, of course. Victory is out of sight for him now as Simone goes wide, but he can't find a way through. As I was saying, victory out of question now, especially with that long lap penalty. So even if absolute chaos unfolds ahead of him, and he's not going to take the long lap penalty loop.
Ali Guido's gone very wide.
I thought he was he taking the long lap penalty loop there?
No,
Did he just make a mistake?
I think he just outbraked himself down into Garage Vert, but it does mean now he's only got a half-second buffer to Simone behind him, so he can't afford to make any more mistakes. Have come down to closing lap, a save mistake, and Simone goes very, very wide on the entry into Garage Vert, into Shimano, both I do say. But back to the front, and it is this man that is going to dominate this and book himself a place in the 2022 MotoGP eSport Pro Draft.
Just record a month to go for Vindex. What a performance this has been from the Monster Energy Yamaha man. He goes right for the first time and then right again. Onto the fat part of the tyre. The front wheel goes airwards. And it's Vindex that takes victory here in the Rising Stars Series final for Europe and Africa. He will find his way into the 2022 Pro Draft, surely alongside his teammate Trastevere. What a lineup Yamaha could have next year. Both of these guys on their books. It looks as though surely we may well see a two-pronged attack battling it out for victory in the 2022 Global Series. Brilliant result from Vindex as he takes victory.
But there you go, confirmation then. Vindex wins it in the end by 2.5 seconds from Ale Guido as Simone and Davide Gallina finishing third and fourth. Close battle between them the whole race. Du Maestro on the tech-free KTM from Simone Piovanelli. It was Badalongo, Ghosty, who had that double long lap penalty at the start, I do believe, or that might have been Gaetano Corrado. Saki Meerkat, the Brit, and Joe 4620, and then the Aprilia of Corrado finishing out in 11th. And that is it for your Europe and Africa regional final. Congratulations to Vindex, the winner here in Le Mans.